So what do we know for Friday? Some of the starters are going to play for the Dolphins. Some aren't. I would imagine nobody of note really is. And then it's time for the regular season. Did anything happen during training camp, preseason games that made you question anything about the upcoming season for the Dolphins?
That backup quarterback situation is interesting.
Is that, but I read you the Chris Perkins column from a couple days ago where he's like, why do people fixate on this? Like, it's not anything. Like, if you need to play your backup more than 4 games in a season, he's like, the season's not going to work regardless.
We watched Skyler playing a playoff game. We watched Matt Moore have to play. We watched backup quarterbacks need to win big games. I think that's why we're fixated on.
Well, that's the thing. You got to stay out of a situation where a backup quarterback, you really got to stay out of a situation where you need to win a game right at the end for it to make a difference.
100% Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
Those games are big, but I think that's why we're stuck on it. But to your point, if Tua can't play, we're not a double-digit win team. If Tua plays, we are a playoff team, period, maybe a title contender.
But did you see anything that would lead you to believe during the training camp or preseason games where you go, you know what? I think the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC East. Or you know what? I don't think the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC East.
No, not at all. Aaron Rodgers didn't play. I don't think
you just didn't see enough.
I think, we didn't see enough. I don't think the Buffalo Bills would be that great. But I didn't see enough action in the offensive line where we know the line is our weakness. Like, what happened? You draft Patrick Paul, who's a huge human being. That was a cool story. I know some big-ass dudes that work at churches. So, like, that's what I wanted to say. I want to see more emphasis on the O-line. I trust McDaniel. I trust Chris Greer. Let's see what happens during the season.
To me, it's more so I had a really sour taste in my mouth with the way that the season ended last year due to injury. Think of all the guys that were out on the defensive side and on the offensive line, and that's kind of been a reoccurring theme throughout all of training camp since it started. Just think of all the guys who haven't practiced due to injury. And I realized,
well, is it really due to injury or is it just being unbelievably cautious?
Hold on a second, though, Hoch, because, okay, Bradley Chubb, JP, we knew that. Coming in, absolutely. Teron Armstead, we knew that. But Jalen Ramsey hasn't really practiced. Jordan Poyer has a cast on his hand. Javon Holland hasn't been practicing. Kendall Fuller missed some time. Aaron Brewer, the center you got to replace Connor Williams, hasn't been practicing because he's injured. Isaiah Wynn hasn't practiced, hasn't returned from the injury list. Odell Beckham, the big acquisition in the offseason, who was supposed to be your third wide receiver, still on the PUP list. I mean, those are guys who are going to be important to this team. That's not to say that injuries will plague this team again, but I do think it can allow you to have some caution with expectations early on in the season.
But no, with all the injuries that McDaniel went through last year, what if he's saying, I'd rather sacrifice reps on the front end?
That's what I
have them for
that's
the back
what I
end.
think is happening.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, be a bit cautious what you see early on outside of Chubb and JP. What you see early on from this team may not be what we're going to see later on in the year.
No, but this early on thing, and you've talked about this, Jordan Poyer hasn't forgot how to play safety. Javon Holland hasn't forgot how to be the one of the top-rated safeties in the NFL. Jalen Ramsey
no, but what he's saying is
cover
they still
somebody
need to be out there to do it.
Do they? Because I've told
no.
Jason Taylor
during regular season,
during camp.
He's saying, is what you're seeing now a harbinger of things to come for the upcoming season, or is this just, hey, we are the most cautious team in the NFL?
I don't think so, because those guys would at the very least, not at this stage, but earlier, those guys at the very least would have been practicing in joint practices. Like, Crowder, they haven't been practicing. Now, could it just be that they're exercising the utmost caution with these guys? I hope so, but I don't know. Like, how injured is Javon? How injured is Jordan Poyer? Like, how we don't know.
We don't know. But I would say, hey, you gonna be ready?
I kind of feel like we would know, though, right? Like, if they were all actually injured, I kind of feel like we would know.
Like, if they're going to be out 8 weeks, we would know. But are they going to be 100% for week one? Are they going to be 100% playing week one and then being on short rest for Thursday Night Football? Your entire secondary? which, by the way, most of them are new faces. Your linebackers, most of them are new faces.
So, and you know what? This question, I honestly, I'm thinking that they're just being super cautious to this conversation. But if we get into week 1, we get into Jaguar week, and Jalen Ramsey still on injury report, Poyer, Holland, Armstead, I will apologize to you because I just think it's like, hey, these veterans don't really need this work. Hey, y'all get healthy. Y'all feel good. You straight. You ready to play? Yeah, coach, I feel good. I'm like, they know their bodies. Okay, well, let's ride.
I mean,
That's my
think,
thought.
I kind of think it's like, Tua went through the head injuries 2 seasons ago. So during the offseason, they go, hey, we're going to make sure that you don't do that again. You're going to do the jujitsu and so on and so forth. I think with a guy like Javon Holland, they're like, man, we could have used you in a lot of those games at the end of the season. Let's just get you to regular season. Like, let's not worry too much about this stuff. That's what I think. Now, could that lead to injuries? By the way, it could, because you haven't had the reps and maybe you're not up to speed, but I don't know. It's probably the most prudent way to approach the season for a team that's had some injury issues.
Poyer and Armstead and Holland and Jalen Ramsey, they're not playing gin rummy and drinking Mountain Dew all day. They're getting ready to play football. We just haven't seen them on the field. We haven't seen them make plays, but I've seen enough plays out of them when it counts. And I think McDaniel has seen enough plays out of them when it counts. I honestly, you said it. I 100% think that they're just being super cautious and saying, let's get to real games and not get Jalen Ramsey hurt against the damn Washington Commanders on a Thursday night. Waste of time.
I'm with you, by the way. Hoch just asked me what I've seen or haven't seen. That's kind of either giving me hope or throwing a little bit of skepticism my way. That was my answer because, truthfully, like, new defensive coordinator, 3rd straight year, you have a bunch of new pieces. Like, what do we really have? I hope they're just exercising caution. Like, I really hope so, but I don't know what we have.
I think we have a pretty good team. That's how I feel. That's how I felt before training camp and preseason started, and it's how I feel now. I shouldn't say pretty good team, a really good team.
I'd have been so sweet if I ain't had to play in preseason.
Oh, could you imagine? You'd still be playing nowadays.
I don't know.
Nah, we saw you run that 40.
Play pickleball. Play no damn football.